to Citi Field, home of the New York Mets. The Astros finishing out 2014 here and trying to take a series tonight on this beautiful night in New York. Julia Morales with you. Down on the field, Alan Ashby, Jeff Blum will join you in just a few minutes. And a big storyline that we're following, Jose Altuve and what he does in every at-bat. It's been a historic season for him so far, and it could be even more special here in the next couple of days. He leads the American League in batting average, leading Victor Martinez by 6 points coming into tonight's game. And what he's done this year has just been so incredible. It would be icing on the cake to get that. But 2 games remaining. He's in there. He's in the lineup tonight. He said he wanted to win it on the field, not on the bench. And the numbers on him in wins and losses. He's the catalyst of this offense, but his bat means so much more than that. Altuve, a big part of the wins this season. But you have to wonder, how close will the Astros let the batting title race get these next couple of days? They put him in there tonight, but every at-bat obviously counts in this race with just a 6-point lead, like I mentioned, over Victor Martinez. He said he wants to play Tom Lawless. We'll be watching the situation closely, the front office, and this is where I bring the guys in the booth in. Alan Ashby, Jeff Blum, where do you guys stand with Altuve's situation?
Yeah, Julia, I'll go ahead and start it. I'm not sure what's more impressive, the season that Jose Altuve has put together this year, phenomenal stuff, or his desire to want to go out there, risk the chance for the batting title with every game he wants to play right now. But he just continues to get his hits, even a night like last night. The 1 for 4, it's kind of what Blummer always talks about, the salvage as he stays alive. But Victor Martinez has been pressing, and so, yeah, it's a tough battle going on right now.
What it tells me about Jose Altuve is that he's a great ball player, number 1. Number 2, he's humble, and he understands this baseball in itself is still bigger than he is, and he wants to do it the right way. He wants to do it with integrity, not have a blemish when he gets that final Silver Slugger and batting title at the end of the year. He wants to do it the right way, and that's what I appreciate about Jose Altuve.
Yeah, agreed. And there have not been blemishes in any direction on the year for Jose Altuve. You can look at all the different things that he's done against pitches, pitch selections, different scenarios in ball games. Jose Altuve can hit, and he can hit anytime.
Yeah, from day one, he stepped up there and has been swinging the bat. He's the one guy in this league that is going up there aggressive, wanting to swing at that first pitch no matter what it is, where it is. I think the most interesting thing about Altuve is some of the little tweaks he made with his swing in spring training with John Maley. And think about what he's done for this ball club offensively with the average, but he's also gotten some big hits. Here of late, 6 straight base hits with runners in scoring position, so that explains what Julia was talking about when he has such good numbers in those wins as opposed to those losses. Even still, they're great numbers when they're losing. But he is looking to finish up a historic season, and I'm just enjoying the ride watching a young man play the game the way it's supposed to be.
Jose Altuve is the Astros franchise player and a mainstay at second base for the long-term future. But what about the rest of the infield spots? Blummer and I will break it all down. Lineups and first pitch are next. Rockies baseball on Comcast Sportsnet is presented by Jack in the Box. Right now at Jack in the Box, try Jack's Spicy Chicken Club Combo for just $4.99 plus tax. The decision has been made, and Jose Altuve will try to win the batting title the only way he knows how, all out and on the field. He'll take another swing at history when we come back. Astros and the New York Mets go at it again tonight. The Astros 3-1 winners last night in the opener of the series. And they will send the veteran right-hander to the mound tonight. That's Samuel Deduno, as he'll go after the New York Mets. But it's all about Jose Altuve right now, quite frankly. Trying to win that batting title. He's got a 6-point lead as the night starts. We can continue talking about Jose, and we've done it all season. He has been that good. Blummer, I'm not sure I've seen a more impressive performance on this ball club.
No, you're exactly right. Astros have not had a batting title winner in the history of their franchise, and Jose Altuve is looking to do that. You see what he leads in this year: hits, multi-hit games, 3-hit games. The numbers just keep piling up, and it's getting to that time where we actually get to start handing out some hardware to the young man for all the hard work he's put in. Most hits by a second baseman since 1936. I mean, when you start going into those early 1900s, you know you're doing some epic things, and Altuve is one of those guys that's garnering that kind of attention and deserves it. It's going to be right up there with Snuffy Sternweiss.
Well, you can't get any better than that. I mean,
you know why they called him Snuffy, right?
No, I want to know why they called him Sternweiss.
Well, I don't know that. Why they called him Snuffy, and I was asking you if you knew.
Okay, how about that one?
Allergies.
Yeah, but he wasn't allergic to hitting, apparently.
No, just grass.
Jose Altuve is allergic to neither, and he wants to be out there every night. A look at our Astros starting lineup presented by Jack in the Box. It will be Robbie Grossman in the top spot, followed by second baseman Jose Altuve and Chris Carter at first base. In the middle, it's Dexter Fowler in center doing the catching, Jason Castro. And at shortstop tonight, Marwin Gonzalez. In the bottom three, Matt Dominguez at third. In right field, Jake Marisnick, and Samuel Deduno will grab a stick if he can get to that point in the ballgame. He'll do the pitching.
For the New York Mets, right-hander Rafael Montero. He is 1-3 on the season with a 4.38 ERA. He's a 6-foot, 186-pound man out of Dominican Republic. He received his first major league win with the Mets' 2-0 victory against the Colorado Rockies on September 10th at Citi Field, where he pitched his only game that he started. He went 5 1/3 innings, allowing 3 hits, walked 4, struck out 7. He's going to be featuring a changeup, fastball, and slider. And we're going to be learning as much about Rafael as you are at home. And we'll get around Citi Field to see who's going to be backing up. Senor Montero out in left field, Eric Young Jr. Center field, Matt Dendecker. Right field, Curtis Granderson. Around the infield, Daniel Murphy at third, Ruben Tejada at short. At second base, Wilmer Flores, Lucas Duda back at first base, and Anthony Recker behind the plate.
So we're set to go here this evening. It's Tim Collins, former Astros manager, and now in his 4th year with the New York Mets. 94 through 96 with the Astros. So he's a veteran wearing those shoes. Mets have had a disappointing year. As we mentioned last night, they thought they had a chance to win 90 plus, maybe win the division this year. It hasn't worked out that way. The Astros start the night 70 and 90. That's a 19-game improvement upon the 51 wins of last year. The Mets are 77 and 83, and we are set to rock and roll with strike one at the knees outside corner. 78 degrees here at game time. Robbie Grossman hitting .233 on his year. Pitch hit on the ground to shortstop. To his left is Tejada, and there's the first out of the night. So Robbie Grossman, who has an 8-game hitting streak on the line, grounds out to start it. It brings up Jose Altuve, and these are the moments we most want to be able to watch here in this series.
You were exactly right. Just going to sit back and enjoy the show.
Jose Altuve doing all those things that Blummer was just talking about. 223 hits on his year. He's got a 6-point lead in the batting race. The Detroit Tigers start at the same time that we do here in New York. And so we'll keep an eye on what Victor Martinez does. 7 homers on the year for Jose, 58 ribbies. Had a big one last night in the 3-1 win. It takes a strike. So Montero spotting it pretty well to start things. There you see the defensive alignment. Outfield shifting a bit toward right field. The infield has to play fairly straight up. Third baseman Murphy playing in. Jose Altuve has been showing signs of willingness to bunt here a bit more. Though, as we mentioned also just recently, just 1 bunt hit on the year for Jose. And now a 1-2 count.
That actually makes that hit total that he has that much more impressive. Yep. Yeah, he's got a lot of infield hits, but he's beaten out a lot of ground balls, but only to have 1 bunt hit in 223.
Last we checked a couple of days ago, I think it was 38 infield hits on the year, which is a good load of infield hits. But like you say, without dropping down bunts, that's getting the wheels going. 1 for 4 in last night's game. Scored a run, drove in 1. The walks don't hurt at this stage of things. Jose just 2 for 8, or rather 208 lifetime against the Mets. 5 for 24. Just his 8th game lifetime against New York. And now 3-2. That bat started. He holds it back. Strong in the hands. What a pretty job he did last night, lining one to right field for the RBI single. Altuve with a bit of his little ritual. And the 3-2 to Jose. Hit on the ground, foul. I don't buy Pat Listash. Altuve took an 0 for, that was an 0 for 4 in game 2 of the 3-game set in Arlington. In fact, Jose had just 2 hits in that series. So it's been slow going, just 3 hits over the last 4 games. It's one in the air. On the infield, the first baseman Duda makes the play, and Altuve starts his night popping to first.
It's all right. That was just some reconnaissance by Jose Altuve, seeing what Montero has, having never faced him. Still got 3 more ABs.
Going to bring up Chris Carter. And of course, Carter, with the 37 home runs, that's been his big story this year, that turnaround with the bat. 0-1 on Chris. Montero doing a nice job early in counts, spotting fastballs down. Carter was 1 for 4 in last night's game, had a double, hitting .229 coming in. Needs 2 RBIs to get to 90 on the year. What would you tell Chris Carter as he departs tomorrow and takes that time off, resting prior to spring training next year? Any thoughts?
Start how you finished in spring training.
Fastball blown by at 95. That'll do it. A 1-2-3 first inning with a strikeout for Montero. We're scoreless after a half. New York, game 161 on the year for the Astros and the Mets. And that starting lineup now for New York. Matt Dendecker is in center field. He leads it off, followed by left fielder Eric Young Jr. Daniel Murphy is the third baseman. Middle 3, Lucas Duda at first. He's the home run leader on the club. Curtis Granderson hit number 20 last night. He plays in right. And at second, Wilmer Flores. In the bottom 3 in the order, the catcher Anthony Recker. Ruben Tejada plays at short, and doing the pitching, Rafael Montero.
Well, you say we check out right-hander Samuel Deduno for your Houston Astros. This will be his 9th start on the season, 8 of those coming with the Minnesota Twins. This will be his first for the Houston Astros, making most of his appearances out of those bullpen. He pitched the final 2 innings in relief of Brad Peacock back on the 19th against Seattle, where he allowed 1 unearned run. In his last start, he allowed 7 runs on 7 hits over 2 2/3 innings in the Twins' 12-9 defeat of Detroit.
It was August 30th this year when the Astros picked up Samuel Deduno off waivers from Minnesota. Signed originally by the Colorado Rockies. And immediately falls behind 2 balls and no strikes. Matt Dendecker plays a nice center field for the Mets. He's hit safely in 6 straight. Takes a bit off, maybe the changeup for the strike.
Yeah, I was looking at the pitches and velocities from Samuel Deduno. He's got a fastball around 89, 90 miles an hour. That curveball at 80, changeup around 84, slider also.
There's the slider or cutter, some version. 3-1 the count.
That last Diduno start was June 14th. That at Detroit against the Tigers. Fills the count. Dendecker, Young, and Murphy coming up here for the Mets in the first. Dendecker hitting .241 on his year, has not homered. It's one on the ground right at Carter. He'll go to the bag himself. And there's the first out.
Just got to look at Chris Carter over there at first base. See who's playing alongside him. Oh, yeah, Jose Altuve out there. Then Marwin Gonzalez back out at shortstop. Domingo at third base. Around the outfield, Robbie Grossman in left. Dexter Fowler in center. Jake Marisnick in right. Jason Castro most likely making his last start of the season behind home plate.
So Eric Young Jr. stands in. Hitting .229, has a home run, 17 ribbies. Runs very well, just like Pops in that regard. Diduno now in his 5th year in the big leagues. Hasn't really got much of a chance, speaking of Diduno with the Astros, in his limited opportunities coming in 4 2/3 innings. Nothing special about the numbers, but on his career, an ERA at 4.26. Not sure where that pitch missed as Young showed bunt. Home plate umpire tonight, it's Will Little. John Byrne down at first. Jerry Lane's at second base, and at third, Hunter Wendelstedt. Little tapper's foul. Having worked with many an umpire behind the plate, sometimes when that hitter shows bunt, the focus gets away from the pitch, and you'll sometimes see pitches right down the middle when the bat's pulled back that get called balls.
I should have fake bunted more often.
I tried it, but people started giggling at me and decided that was not good.
When I kept seeing the third baseman with his hands on his hips, I knew it was time to stop doing that.
Over the top curveball's grounded foul. Young's a switch hitter. He was 1 for 4 in last night's game. Struck out once. Done pretty well in 15 lifetime games against Houston. A .289 hitter. Again, that over the top breaking ball.
It's his best pitch. Hitter's only hitting a .196 against that curveball.
Never a good thing as a hitter when you struggle at home, and that's what Eric Young has done this year at Citi Field, hitting just .209. And down on strikes. Tough pitch down and in. That tag is missed by Castro. He'll fire down to Castro. Second out of the inning. It'll bring up third baseman Daniel Murphy.
Good movement on that fastball, I guess. Castro set up away. If you're going to miss your spot, miss down. That was pretty good.
Two outs. Murphy at the plate. Fine left-hand hitter. Hitting .290 on the year. He's been among the leaders in the National League throughout the season. Has 9 home runs. Watches one closely. Takes a strike. It's 0-2. Murphy, versatile defensively. He'll play at second, first, and in left field. It's a guy that had 188 hits a year ago, but down on strikes on that good breaking ball. A couple of strikeouts for Diduno. A 1-2-3 first inning. Both pitchers rolling through one.
Between the Astros and Mets. That's making me hungry. It's now time for you to tweet your photo using hashtag CSNHFanPhoto for a chance to have it shown in an upcoming broadcast brought to you by AT&T. We'll keep watching this corn as I have a Twitter question for you. Tweet us and we'll read some of the best tweets later in the broadcast. What's the biggest accomplishment you take out of this Astros season? They did get 70 wins yesterday. Make sure to tweet us, guys. We'll read some of those later.
Thank you, Julia. I was wondering what that is on the corn there. I assume that's butter, but I don't know.
There's some people that like mayonnaise. I am not one of them.
You think that was mayo?
There's only one way to tell.
Go get yourself one.
You go get one.
See, I knew that was coming back. We go to the second inning. Dexter Fowler, the cleanup man, leads it off. He's got a 7-game hitting streak. And the first pitch, Montero brings that fastball, so maybe looking for it. Fowler gets the pitch he wants, but grounds back to the mound. 4 in a row retired by Montero to start things.
It's actually good to see Fowler in the lineup. He got smoked in that right wrist last night. Obviously feeling better.
Jason Castro comes to the plate. By the way, with Rafael Montero on the mound for these Mets, opposing Samuel Deduno of the Astros. It's the 24th game in the major leagues this year featuring 2 starters born in the Dominican Republic. It's the most games with 2 Dominican-born starting pitchers in any season in Major League history. Previous high was 17. Castro takes low. And then you look a little further, a total of 455 games started this year by pitchers born in the Dominican. It's also a single season high. The first ever Dominican born pitcher to start a game in the major leagues, and again that was start a game, was Juan Marichal of the Giants back in July of 1960. Of course, it all worked out pretty well for Marichal. 2-0 the count. Carlos Corporon caught last night's game for Houston. Montero brings it and again misses low. So 3-0. Montero in this rotation now for the Mets, replacing a guy that's got a chance to be the National League Rookie of the Year, Jacob deGrom.
So he's got a real strong chance.
3-1. These Mets, like a lot of clubs right now, finding a lot of players on the DL. David Wright, their star third baseman.
Been all season without Matt Harvey.
That's a big one. And Matt Harvey, if he comes back healthy next year and you add deGrom and John Neese can stay healthy with that heart condition that took him out of last night's ball game, they've got a chance of having a good starting rotation. Dylan G in the rotation. Don't know if you can count on Bartolo Colon, but I would imagine you could count on him being with somebody next year. He seems to resurface every year.
Yeah, especially if they've got a spread in the clubhouse.
Wow. That's on you, Blummer. On the hands and popped up on the left side. Tejada, the shortstop. That's out number 2 here in the inning. It'll bring up Marwin Gonzalez.
Yeah, deGrom's got pretty good numbers on the year. 9-6 record, 2.69 ERA, and 22 starts. That's real nice. 144 strikeouts and 140 in the third innings pitched.
And just his first year in the big leagues, as we talk about, with him being a big-time candidate for the Rookie of the Year honors. And he's got some very good numbers. But Matt Harvey, a year ago, before his elbow problems that required the Tommy John surgery, one of the dominant guys around. So every team has their problems. I imagine Harvey and David Wright would be the two key guys out for the Mets. Here's a drive right center field in the gap and deep back at the wall. This one is one hop up against the wall. Marwin just jogs it into second base. He has been bothered by a sore hamstring throughout much of the season, but it hasn't impacted negatively that hitting stroke.
It's actually made it better. He keeps driving the gap, having to run on that hamstring, testing it. Misses a couple days here and there, but still has that nice stroke. Gets a fastball he likes and barrels it up nicely. It's a big part of this ballpark too. 390 in that gap.
Yeah, the numbers are bigger here than the impression, at least, that I get when I just glance at it from the broadcast booth. 408 to center. Pretty good sized yard.
And it was bigger the last couple years. Actually brought that left field fence in.
Now you can see back where it used to be, back where the numbers are hung.
They said they brought right field in too a little bit. It's not good when guys would rather hit right-handed at Shea Stadium than here at Citi Field. That tells you how big the place is.
Shea Stadium always played, in my opinion, as a pitcher's park.
Oh man. Yeah, I agree.
Ladies and gentlemen, do not at any time take the field.
I don't think that was completely unintentional. I'm just glad he got back up. It didn't look like he was going to finish too strong right here.
Yeah,
man down. There's Captain Jean-Luc Picard.
I think he was trying to land that floor routine, and it didn't happen the way he wanted. Yeah, I think you're right. High fastball on the 0-2. What was his position on the Starship Enterprise?
Captain.
He was the captain.
He was running the show.
Okay. Oh, he was the follow-up captain, wasn't he?
Yeah, he's not not Captain Kirk by any means.
That was not a Trekkie. Matt Dominguez down on strikes. Second strikeout picked up by Montero. Double by Marwin. He's stranded. We're scoreless.
Game ticket plans are now available for the Astros 2015 season. Choose between 2015 Astros series and weekend plans for the best seats in Minute Maid Park and receive exclusive benefits. For tickets, call 1-877-9-ASTROS or visit astros.com. Samuel DeDuno gets back to work here, and talking with pitching coach Brent Strom about him, he said he's better suited as a starter. The knock has been his command. He's had tough command issues over the years, but the curveball is very good. You guys have seen that so far this game, and of course Brent Strom appreciates that as he's worked on that with a couple of the guys. But Today, the hope is to get him around 5 innings. And then as far as the future guys, it sounds like he's not out of the running as far as looking ahead to maybe some of the starters for next year.
Thank you, Julia. He gets Lucas Duda with one pitch. Fly ball to center field. And that brings up Curtis Granderson, who homered in last night's game, the only run for the Mets. And it was a launch job, number 20 on his year. Granderson has been a hot hitter. He's hit safely in his last 7. And getting Duda is a big guy to get in this order. 28 home runs on his year. Boy, the pacing for Duduno as a starter is just entirely different and better than when he comes in relief.
A lot better than Montero's, too.
Good off-speed pitch under the knees. 2-1 the count.
And just like that, he hits the brakes.
See, that's all we have to do is bring it up. But he was really rolling along there.
He'll get back in his routine.
2 balls and 2 strikes here in the second inning. Couple of offenses, like so many offenses around Major League Baseball right now, struggling to get runs. Boy, as a manager, you've got to try to figure out any way you can put something on the board these days.
I got a VMart update.
Victor Martinez of the Tigers underway.
Yes, 0 for 1.
His batting average remains at .336. He doesn't budge, but that's the same story for Altuve at .342. Granderson gets a piece. 3-2 the count. Now we'll keep our eyes on what goes on with Victor Martinez. Yeah, I just want to see Altuve get hot so you can just not even worry about what anybody else is doing.
You say he throws 2 knocks out there today. You can just go ahead and etch his name onto that trophy.
Ground ball first base side, stays fair. Carter comes to get it, steps on the bag. That's 2 outs in the second inning. Second ground ball out induced by Duduno. Brings up Wilmer Flores. He's the second baseman for the Mets, hitting .246. Has a little pop with 6 homers. Duduno just out of the strike zone. It's been a little bit tight, especially around the knees for the home plate umpire tonight, Will Little.
Not sure where that is. It's a good pitch.
I would assume Little is a defensive end wearing number 93, but
well, he's going to end up earning the nickname Little Zone.
May already have it.
Good point. I don't remember seeing him back there in some of the games we've done. Or his middle name is Squeeze. Will Squeeze a little. I'll be here all night.
I was
tomorrow
thinking
if you need me.
that might work at Minute Maid Park.
There you go.
Very well. 3-1 now for Duduno. How are you going to repace this game if the strike zone stays small for a number of umpires?
Well, it's just going to reinforce the fact that we feel that maybe opening that zone up a little bit will speed things up and get these guys swinging.
Where would you open it if you were in charge of things?
Give a little bit on the edges. I think that, down and over the edges is okay to go.
Backhanded Dominguez. Had a tough time exchanging to the right hand and eventually can't make the play. And we'll see how this is ruled. Nice play with the glove, though.
It's like a little bit of a mess out there at third base. I'm not sure if they had a little extra groundskeeping going on, but usually a play that Matt Dominguez makes. There's a little extra turfus over there.
Comes up with it cleanly and then can't exchange.
No, you're exactly right. Everything happened on that exchange led to that rush to throw.
They have ruled it an E5. So Wilmer Flores does not get the home cooking with the home score. Matt Dominguez charged with the error. Comes with 2 outs, brings up Anthony Recker, the catcher. There's a good low strike.
There's a good look at it. You see him open up and drop that right foot back and does everything he can because that ball was hit pretty well. See how muddy that hand is too, but the ball just jarred loose towards the end of the glove. Not where you're expecting it. A lot of infielders at the big league level can go into that glove routinely without looking and know where that ball is going to be, and when it's not there, it's not a good feeling.
For Matt Dominguez, error number 12 on his season. And that's not a bad figure at all for a guy playing every day at third base.
I'm glad you said that, because if I say it, it sounds a little biased because I played some third base, but yeah, I think you're exactly right. That 12 to 15 error isn't too bad, especially with a guy like Matt Dominguez who makes a lot of great plays.
Anthony Recker hitting just .203 on the year, 7 homers. Big, strong guy.
And don't kid yourself, it's September 27th. He's not having the best year offensively. That body is a little bit heavy right now. That mind is a little bit heavy right now.
Yeah. You think he's heard the rumblings about who's going to play third base?
Every ball player hears them. There's always somebody, quicker, faster, stronger, cheaper playing behind you on their way up.
Till they get there and you find out they're really not all of those things other than cheaper.
But I mean, there's another guy, he's probably looking forward to the off season, and hopefully this is just a weird season where things didn't go his way. Or he goes into the off season and makes a lot of adjustments and finds a swing that works for him.
3 balls and a strike on Recker.
I don't think there's anybody in this organization that's going to push him out of third base for the time being, to be honest with you, immediately, like spring training or the first couple months.
Pitch inside, so a 2-out walk following the error, and it gives the Mets runners at first and second. 2 down for Ruben Tejada. Well, is that to say, Blummer, that you think come opening day next year the odds are that Matt Dominguez is the guy at third base?
I think so. But I think there's also going to be a little more pressure on Matt Dominguez going into the next spring training. And rightfully so. I think if you're playing at the big league level and you don't have that or feel any pressure or put any extra pressure on yourself to play better each year, I don't think you belong here. And the first guy that's going to say he's disappointed with his performance is going to be that guy at third base. Matt Dominguez is a stand-up guy.
Yeah, and a very good guy, and it's a challenge sometimes when you get to know guys and you know how hard they're working and that they're quality individuals. They can do this very well, but maybe that is not done as well.
And it's adjustments too. It's a big learning curve here in the big leagues, and hopefully he has the fortitude to stay with it and make it happen. Because I think the glove is there on a daily basis. He's one of the better third basemen I think we get a chance to see.
I agree. Starts the double play very nicely. Duduno with a 1-1 count. And now falls behind.
Yeah, I wonder how quickly that pitch count's going to jump for Duduno. Having a tough time finding that zone.
Ruben Tejada now in his 12th game lifetime against Houston, and he's hit just 176, 3 doubles along the way. Hits one on the ground up the middle, and that's knocked down by Marwin. Here comes the runner to the plate, the throw and a hop, and they've got him. Heck of a play by Marwin Gonzalez to get it done, throwing out Wilmer Flores on what will be a base hit for Ruben Tejada. The Astros get out of it without any damage. Still a scoreless game after 2. play by Marwin Gonzalez to come up with an out on this infield single.
Tell you what, that was a pretty good pitch by Diduno, but even more heads up by Marwin Gonzalez out there at shortstop. Good tag by Castro, but that's part of the deal. You know, initially off the bat, Marwin knew he wasn't going to have a play at first base. He was just concerned about keeping that ball in the infield and able to corral that thing pretty well. Made a nice strong throw, and it got there plenty of time for Jason Castro to make that good tag.
Tough play also for a third base coach. Former Mets infielder Tim Tuffle is the third base coach, and with 2 outs, you expand your chances, and in this case, Marwin just comes up with too good of a play. So for the Astros here in the 3rd inning, scoreless ball game. Jake Marisnick leads it off, followed by Samuel Diduno himself, and then back to the top with Robbie Grossman. Montero has been sharp through his couple of innings. 2 strikeouts for Montero. Got strikeouts of Carter and Dominguez to end each of the 2 innings. Marisnick has had a big bat. He's hit an 8 straight as he pops one in the air, foul territory. First baseman Duda with the play, out number 1 here in the 3rd. Just wondering, Blummer, as we head toward the offseason, what sort of moves might be contemplated? Where would you anticipate that Jeff Luhnow and his staff would try to look to search out to see if there's any free agency that might work for the club?
Are you talking where, like what
position?
area?
Yeah, what
bullpen?
Yep.
Man, for me, it's bullpen. I just keep, you know, I'm probably not the only one having nightmares about, hey.
Here's a drive left center field deep, and this is going to drop and go all the way to the wall. Dendecker back to pick it up, but by the time he does, it's a 1-out double for Samuel Diduno. How about that?
Stride it out, Sammy. Look at, he's going to go back to the dugout and tell everybody how he got jammed and almost one-hopped the wall in center. Stassi's approval.
Apparently somebody can swing the bat.
The swing was better than the gate.
That's his first major league hit in 6 official at-bats.
At what point do you think he was like, oh man, I got to keep running? Watch him get those knees out. Touch it, touch it, touch it. Attaboy.
That tells you a lot, doesn't it?
This is even better right here. Oh, there's somebody backing up. Oh,
that was quite a turn at first base, wasn't it?
That was all kinds of special. I want that on my highlight reel.
So Samuel Diduno now has a hit on his slate, and it's a double in the big leagues.
Thus solidifying the fact that he will start in every National League park next year.
Ooh, that that will be remembered. Hey, this guy can swing the bat.
But can he play left?
Or right.
Or right. You got to be versatile.
Well, that option may not still be around. Robbie Grossman grounded to short in the 1st inning. I don't know. You think that that option remains with the club?
Not sure. Every manager's different.
Samuel Diduno had 4 major league, well, let me see, 5 major league at bats, and he had struck out 5 times prior to that double. He had laid down 1 sacrifice bunt. So it's the 2nd time he's made contact in the big leagues. Effectively so. Grossman fouls it back. 2-2 the count on Robbie. Robbie has the batting average at .232. And like Jake Marisnick, an 8-game hitting streak. So he's been finishing strong. That's something he did last year, and it earned him a shot at being the everyday left fielder when 2014 kicked off. Down on strikes, fastball blown by. Second out of the inning, third strikeout for Montero. And it brings up Jose Altuve. Before we get to Jose, let's check in with Julia.
Thanks, Ash. I have the Geico quote of the day. It is from Altuve on his weekend plans. He said, "I'm playing today and the next day. I want to win it outside on the field, not sitting on the bench." And guys, the team obviously respects their teammate in Altuve, but when he says something like this, they're not surprised. But they do love hearing that from Altuve as he tries to play this game and tomorrow's as well.
Really impressive. Thanks, Julia. And you can't say it enough.
No, you really can't. But I also appreciate the fact that Altuve's taken this opportunity with all of his success to step up and be that leader type that says, no, this is how we're going to play baseball with the Houston Astros. You know, for years it was the Biggio-Bagwell, duo going out there playing the game right. Now Altuve recognizing his opportunity here in that Astro uniform to be that guy and make himself be that guy. I appreciate how he's handling this.
He is that guy, no doubt. He's tied for third in hits in a single season among right-hand hitters over the last 40 years in the big leagues. And now he tries to bunt his way aboard, and that fastball running up and in didn't work out well for the bunt.
And he's 6 for his last 6 with runners in scoring position. And there's a runner in scoring position, and he squared around to bunt. So that tells you that he might be thinking about that batting title a little bit.
Oh, I have no doubt. And last night I thought he was a little looser than I've seen him in recent games, slamming the bat and very upset with himself. I thought he effectively loosened it up last night. We'll see what he can do with 2 strikes here. You showed all the numbers about how Jose has hit well with 2 strikes. He's hit all the various pitches extremely well and way better than every other hitter around the major leagues. It's, you start compiling all the things he's done this year, and it's so impressive.
Well, and when somebody has a year like this, you have to look at all the numbers just to see how amazing they are. His numbers against the major league average are ridiculous.
He's just far better. 223 hits. Can he add to it? Ground ball hit to short. Coming on to make the play, Tejada. And it's close at first, but not close enough for Jose. He's out for the second time on the evening. That'll do it for Houston. They get the double by Deduno and Strandon. We're scoreless.
Mets no score. Time for a look at the upcoming schedule presented by Progressive. It's the 2015 schedule highlights for the Houston Astros. They open the season at home with a 3-game homestand against the Cleveland Indians. And not only are they playing in the American League West, they'll be playing opponents from the National League West. Any others on there you like to see, Ash?
Well, I wish the club was going into Dodger Stadium since they're playing the National League West, but not going to hit Dodger Stadium. That's, I think, for both of us, kind of one of those places we don't mind going.
No, it'd be nice to go over there and see Vince Scully.
Boy, no kidding. Could be his last year, I would imagine.
That would have been pretty special. Hopefully, maybe he'll make the trip. I don't know.
Well,
I know he stays in the West.
Yeah, I think it's been nothing further east than Denver. in recent years. But we'll see how it works out. If he decides it's going to be his last year, he might.
I'll convince him. He's got to call a Houston Astros game in the American League.
Yeah,
that'll be a first. He hasn't done that.
You know what? That's valid.
I'll do anything to get him there.
Yeah, one of the greats of all time. And I don't know what impact he had on you, but growing up in the LA area, for me,
yes.
Huge Dodger fan, it was because of Vin Scully, and I realized it years later. But yeah, what an impact he's had on many.
No, I was the same way. I grew up listening to him on the KTLA broadcast back in the day, and one of the highlights of my career was actually having listened to him and then having him call some of my games. And some of the highlights that I had at Dodger Stadium, I saved those moments, and he did a very good job of handling my at bats, because he would always talk about my daughters, and my daughters fell in love with him from day one.
That's great. What I remember about Vin Scully in my playing days is he'd come around the batting cage every once in a while and shake hands, and he would mention where you're from. Obviously, he was reinforcing for himself hometowns of guys that were local products.
Yep.
Samuel Deduno working it here in the third inning. Scoreless game. 2-2 the count on the opposing pitcher, Rafael Montero. Strike three called inside corner. Caught looking is Montero. Third strikeout now for Deduno. So last year to this year with the Astros, and I was asking you, where would you think that logically there might be some changes for the club? You said the bullpen.
Yeah, I was going to say, what's great for me, sorry about that, are these bottom two numbers down here. Those ERAs, when you see the pitchers dropping almost a full point, starters that is, that's a beautiful sign for me, and tells me that's not a real area they got to work on. That's that bullpen ERA hovering around that high 4.5, 5 number. And I think once they address those issues in the bullpen, because the number I was going to get to when I was talking about earlier in the bullpen, it's 24 or 25 blown saves that they've had. You add that to a 70-win team, you're at 90-95. That's playoff contender. So if you have the same offense, same starting pitching, but you make up some room in that bullpen and maybe cut that number in half, you're an 82-plus win. You're a 500 ball club.
Starting pitching has been good enough to not only have this team be 19-20 games better than last year, but way beyond that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how much improved the starting staff has been. And really, you're looking at the top three guys in the rotation. Others have shown moments, but then there have been other times that prove it's not all the way there. But the top three, absolutely great.
Yeah, and I think Deduno is the 11th starter the Astros have used this year. So, yeah, but they've done a good job of managing that 4-5 spot in the rotation to be able to get to 70 wins.
Breaking ball grounded on the right side. Altuve plugs the hole. That's the second out of the inning. Second time Dendecker has grounded out.
I'd also like to see that runs per game number get up over 4
on the offensive side. Yes.
Yeah, I think you could, if you added one bat, or if you got a more consistent Chris Carter throughout the course of the season, how about adding a healthy George Springer? Should be able to put that up over the 4 running per game.
He could make the kind of difference that might surprise people. Can one player make that much of a difference? I would say in Springer's case, yes.
Well, you push certain guys in that lineup down, and your lineup gets that much deeper when you put a guy like that into the lineup.
Well, consider some of the period of time where Springer was starting to find it. Of course, the strikeout plagued him, no question. But we saw enough games where he single-handedly took over the offense.
Yep.
Well, that's a good-looking splitter from Deduno.
Sure is.
By the way, the Astros at 4.76 with that bullpen ERA. Dead last, and they've been there all year in the American League. That kind of pitch will work. Seattle best at 262. So there's a spread, and that tells you a lot as to why Seattle has made the turnaround this year that they've made.
That's incredible.
262. Oakland follows, and then Cleveland. Bullpens have become a larger and larger part of what Major League Baseball and success for teams is all about. Two big hops at shortstop, handled by Marlin. That'll do it. A 1-2-3 third inning. A couple of strikeouts, or rather a couple of ground ball outs for Deduno.
Back home, the Eli Young Band House Party is coming to Minute Maid Park on November 15th. There will be performances by Eli Young Band, Josh Abbott, Thomas Rhett, and Cody Johnson. Might even be a cameo in there with Julia. Get your tickets now at Ticketmaster.com.
I want to see her work with a band. I know she's great on her own, but it's a different thing working with the rest of the gang.
And in front of about 30,000 people.
Wow, I wonder what that'll do.
Just get better, don't you?
Well, you know what? She handles the crowds in great fashion here, so maybe it'll just bring out even greater things from her. Chris Carter leads it off, hits one on 2 hops to shortstop. Tejada with the play, and a quick first out here in the 4th inning. A scoreless game. 2 hits for the Astros, 1 for the Mets. Dexter Fowler stands in. Dexter tapped back to the mound in the 2nd inning. Yeah, you wonder as we kind of reflect on the comments about the bullpen, and if you can get better in that area, maybe move into the middle of the pack in terms of overall ERA through the course of the year, how many wins that might translate to. You talked about all the blown saves.
Well, I was say if you could just cut that number in half, get yourself maybe 12 wins out of that. You know, cut it down to 12 losses or blown saves.
You know, blown saves can be a bit deceiving because sometimes those are,
well, they turn into it.
Yeah, the early ones a bit deceiving. But you know what's really important is to make sure that back end of the bullpen doesn't give away leads that you mount through 6-7 innings.
Yeah.
And Chad Qualls generally has been really good. Tony Sipp has.
Yeah, I think Tony Sipp's been amazing. I think Chad Qualls has been a great guy to have in that bullpen all the way around. Yeah, leadership and closing out games.
You'd hate to think of the season without those 2 guys.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Because it could have resulted in exactly what happened last year.
Yeah.
Offensive numbers are improved from last year, but not drastically.
Well, and you know what's interesting, too, about that bullpen number? The reason that bullpen number last year was inflated, those guys were burned out. Starting pitching didn't go that deep last year. This year, that's all on the bullpen because starters this year have gone quite deep into the season.
Fair. Yeah, and I think Dallas Keuchel went a long way to kind of setting that tone for the ball club.
Absolutely.
Colin McHugh, another guy that you may not in seeing him physically think of that as Dexter Fowler lines one into right field. That's the 3rd hit for the Astros tonight. A 1-out single brings up Jason Castro. But I was going to say of Colin McHugh, physically his presence doesn't make you think, oh wow, here's something special. But you watch him pitch in a ball game and he's going to take it deep every time he can.
He's got above average stuff. Like you said, Ash, he goes out there in a calculating type way and just puts away batters. We had heard about the breaking ball, but I think for me, it's really that fastball that he had around 92, 93 miles an hour and able to pitch up in the zone. He really has no fear throwing that thing anywhere near the strike zone and has just been racking up the Ks this season, close to almost 10 per 9 innings.
Pitch on the hands, popped on the left side. 3rd baseman Murphy over. He'll make the play. 2nd out here in the 4th inning. Castro is 0 for 2 with a couple of pop outs tonight. That'll bring up Marwin Gonzalez, who doubled. That came in the 2nd. The double for Marwin was his 15th of the year. You know, you watch the game number throughout the course of the year, and for so long, for 6 months, it feels like 162 is just way out there at the end of a tunnel that you haven't even spotted yet. But kind of amazing, very surprising to sit here and be on game 161.
You did it.
And you as well.
Kind of.
You got a trip coming back to Houston. I know you've got a chance to go back and dazzle the folks a little bit.
Yeah, why not? One last hurrah.
Marwin takes a strike.
Good old H-Town.
Get yourself a very nice dessert. That's my recommendation.
Oh, I'm going straight to Pappasito's. Are you kidding me?
Is that where it's going to be?
Oh, man.
Wow, you get
such
to
a
pick the
sucker
place.
for that. Why do you think I've been eating so good for the last week?
Look, Pappasito's is, they're not on our advertising list yet. We got to get them there because
I'll learn. I'm sorry.
For me, for my kids, they'll come to Texas just for that.
Houston's actually highly underrated for me amongst the groups of friends that I have that don't live in Houston as far as restaurants and good places to eat.
Restaurants you don't find elsewhere?
Yeah. Yeah, you know, the Heights has some good restaurants over there on Washington. I was a big fan when I was playing of Max's Wine Dive, and it's one of those places that was actually open late. So after games, you could stop by and still grab a really good meal and a good glass of wine. It was awesome. I bet you Julia hasn't found any good restaurants in Houston.
No, I imagine not.
She doesn't get out much. She's probably in the concession line right now somewhere.
I think she does all of her chowing at the ballparks, doesn't she?
Yeah. Takes a break at home in Houston.
Guys, I tried to eat. Okay, let me just. Concession line. Speaking of, I tried to go check out the concession line for Shake Shack.
Ooh.
I got to be careful saying that. And I mean, I can't even tell you how many people are in line over there. It's amazing.
Have you been to that one in Times Square here?
No, I haven't.
Oh man, it's a line around the block. Yeah, it's unbelievable.
Like, I've had it. It's great, but I don't think any of those people are going to see any of the game.
Might be worth it.
Almost a snap throw by the catcher. Wrecker behind the dish. 2 balls and a strike.
Speaking of dishes, what are you going to go with, Julia?
What was that? What was that?
I said, speaking of dishes, what are you going to go with then?
Well, I don't know. There's a nice server here that might help me out because the lines are so long in this place. There's a concert tonight. Have you guys brought this up?
Oh, man.
And there's a lot of people here to see this concert.
I actually know that Austin Mahoney is going to be here tonight.
Oh, you even know his name. See,
oh, do I? I've got 4 girls at home that are going to be screaming their brains out when I tell them who's here.
What's the age bracket here? What are we talking about?
This demographic is probably 9 to about 18.
It's not my age. I don't even know who this person is. Am I missing out?
You're over 20?
You yes. Obviously don't have Disney Channel on your presets and your radio in the car like
Sing
I
one
do.
for us, Blummer.
No.
Oh.
I'm sorry. I'm not that. Just because it's on the radio doesn't mean I'm listening.
You know what, Blummer? Earlier in the year, I tried to get Julia to head to Pappasito's. She was looking for Mexican, and she blew it off entirely. And I think had she known that you were a big fan, as the runner goes, strike 3, or rather, strike 2 is called on Marwin Gonzalez. No throw from Wrecker, and so it's a stolen base for Dexter Fowler. He's picked up a couple here now. 11 on his season. Yeah, but I think Julia would have regarded your recommendation much more highly.
I'm reinforcing what you had already said, Ash, so maybe it takes 2 or 3 recommendations before she'll go try a restaurant.
Maybe that's the case.
Okay, I'll go. You guys are twisting my arm. I have to have Mexican food.
Oh, I thought you were a huge fan.
I do. I love it. I'll get there. There are a great restaurant. There's a bunch of great restaurants in Houston, though. I tried them out last offseason. Don't get out much. I heard you, Blummer.
That's good to hear.
You're
working so much.
Wrecker goes out to the mound. A 3-2 count on Marwin Gonzalez. First base open. Matt Dominguez waits on deck.
Yeah, Julia, what'd you do on your off day? Speaking of being in a good city with a lot of restaurants, what'd you decide to do?
Okay, well, that's not fair. I went to go see Jeter's last game. So I ate at Yankee Stadium.
Tell us about the emotion of that game the other night.
I know, you guys were talking about it. I wish I could describe how cool that was to see the fans so into every at-bat, and for him to hit the double in the first at-bat. I've never seen anything like that.
Double off the wall, almost a home run, and then he wins the game, walk-off style. Ball 4, so Marwin draws the walk. Puts runners at first and second. Matt Dominguez comes to the plate. Still scoreless here in the 4th inning. Ooh, that's the local fare, huh?
Just can't go wrong with a good Mexican meal.
It's not what my cardiologist says.
Is that the Trio de Taco? Oh, man, I'll see you later, Ash. I'm going to make a run here real quick.
So
you want one?
How do you feature the tacos? Soft or crispy?
Oh, it depends. There's restaurants back home where I live that their crispy tacos are unbeatable. But then there's other places where the soft tacos, stays together a little bit better.
Fastball shoots on by Recker, and the runners move up. So with 2 outs, the Astros have a pair of runners in scoring position, and now looking for a knock. This is a very catchable ball. I'm not sure what went on with Recker, if he got crossed up or not. And apparently it is a cross-up. Recker goes out to the mound. Known some catchers that would take this trek out there just to make sure everybody thought it was a cross-up.
No, I'm with you on that as far as the cross-up. It wasn't that far out of the zone. Just thankful that Will Little didn't take the brunt of that. That would have been painful.
They've ruled it a pass ball, cross-up or no cross-up.
Montero's getting himself in some trouble here with 2 outs.
.161. It has a nice ring.
Did you ever play a season where he had to play 163?
Yes.
Yeah.
1980.
Did you?
Yep. Ball and a strike.
I got to do that in 2007.
Really?
Yeah, but again, you get to that 161, 162, that 163rd, knowing what's on the line, it didn't feel like the 163rd game for me.
Didn't even faze me in that sense. We had the Astros had a 3-game lead with 3 games to play and lost all 3 to the Dodgers in L.A. And they tied us with that. We had to stay and play 163 and beat them, and flew to Philadelphia to start the postseason the next day.
You kidding me?
No, and yeah, those were the days. It started that very next day.
Oof. Well, you and Keith Hernandez were talking about the 1986 NLCS, and I looked at the schedule of that. You guys had a game in New York and then flew to Houston and played a game the next day.
Day game? Yeah,
I couldn't hope so. I didn't see the times on it, but good grief. They would never do that now. Now everything's nice and easy and soft, and you get the day off for the travel, and then you pick it up again.
Don't even remember. You kind of do it as a player when it comes to those big games like that. During the season, you'll hear some griping. 2-2 on Matt Dominguez. Intriguing for me to listen to Keith Hernandez talk about this pitch and that and this at bat, and I guess it's quite different when you're a guy that was one of the great players, and he was.
I'll tell you what, he has got the memory of an elephant. The man knew pitches. He gave us a scouting report on Mike Scott, Bob Nepper, J.R. Richard, Nolan Ryan. It was unbelievable.
Yeah, he knew his stuff. Great player. Best first baseman I ever played against. And now the walk to Matt Dominguez, so that'll load him up. Back-to-back free passes. And Jake Marisnick comes to the plate. Nice job by Matt Dominguez.
It was a good at-bat. Nowhere to put Jake Marisnick now with the bases loaded and the pitcher hitting behind him. So he has got to come after Jake. Good time to hit.
And the big meeting at the mound now as the pitching coach comes out. That's Dan Warthen.
Victor Martinez update, 0 for 1. He just walked in his second at bat.
Now, this is not a pep talk for the infielders, though they all come to the mound to find out what's being said. But I'm not sure what else you say in this scenario other than, come on, you got to challenge somebody. You've got no place to put anybody. Let's go. Throw strikes. You've heard it a million times, but that's kind of the message. And it's one of those scenarios for the Astros where you've got to find a way to get the big hit with 2 outs. With runners in scoring position, the Astros have hit .240 this year. That's not far off their team batting average. With 2 outs, that number goes down to .205. Good, aggressive, healthy swing by Jake Marisnick. His swings for me have gotten better and better.
I'd agree, and the numbers back up what you're saying.
And I love that he's showing some home run pop. Doubles and home runs as a corner outfielder or center fielder, whatever it may turn out to be for Jake. Got to have it. 0-2 the count.
It's always nice to have that attribute of being a threat to go deep at home plate.
Changes the way a pitcher and catcher go after you. That's for me what sets up legitimate walks.
Yeah.
And down on strikes, Marisnick. Fourth strikeout of the night for Montero as he gets through the fourth inning despite the bases loaded.
Come get a behind-the-scenes look at Minute Maid Park. Learn all about the ballpark by visiting areas like the historic Union Station, luxury suites, the Diamond Club, and much more. For more info, visit Astros.com/tours or call 713-259-TOUR to schedule your tour today. Guys, something really cool that George Springer did the past couple of days, visiting with those with the Stuttering Association for the Young, also known as SAY. He was named the spokesperson for SAY earlier this month. Springer, with a stutter, has the desire and the passion to kind of spread the word about kids with stutters and how they can conquer anything and they can go after their dreams just like Springer did. Very cool for him. He said as a kid it was really hard. Growing up, he was very quiet in school. And just when he got a little bit older, a sophomore in college even, he decided, you know what, this is who I am, this is what I have to deal with, and I'm not going to let it hold me back. He does a great job in interviews, I should say. Never one to shy away from talking to anyone now, and it's just a great thing that he's doing with SAY.
Thanks, Julia. Couldn't agree more. He's impressive in that regard. You never see him act like he's embarrassed about it. He just carries on, and he does quite well. Three-hitter Daniel Murphy leads off here in the fourth inning. Astros had the bases loaded. Jake Marisnick came to the plate in the fourth inning with 2 outs and struck out. And so that's the big at bat to this point. Three Houston hits, 1 for the Mets. Ground ball back to the mound. Samuel Deduno is having it his way here early on against the Mets.
He's doing it.
By the way, did I hear you earlier say nothing cooking here in New York as you were looking at the frying pan and everything? Yeah. That was very nice.
Yeah, I'm an adept at these things. I know what you're going to be doing tomorrow.
What's that?
Watching some of that golf.
Boy, that was disheartening today.
That was just a good old-fashioned pummeling.
Yes, it was. By probably a better team, but
yeah, put up a fight.
They did in the morning.
Talking about the Ryder Cup.
Well, I thought you were talking about the early morning round of golf we had.
No, I knew that answer. And the beatings that I can put on a golf course in the mornings are pretty evident.
What you mean is on the competitors.
No.
2 balls and a strike.
There's a reason that my golf cart is running out of gas by the time that round is over.
So that's electricity, but really, who's analyzing?
They still go with combo. There's still gas out there.
Occasionally. They appeal to third. No swing. 3-1 the count. Lucas Duda at the plate. Fly to center field in the 2nd inning.
I'm going to change the name of what I do when I'm on the golf course to hunting.
Why is that?
Because I'm hunting my golf ball.
Line drive center field. It's going to hang up. Dexter's there to make the play. 2 outs in the 4th.
The Duno's looking all right. Found himself in a bit of a groove.
Problem is it's hard to change or hard to figure out what's going on when you go from the groove to the rut. And I could make that change in an absolute heartbeat.
I'll be here for you.
Thanks. That's a good looking pitch. 90 miles an hour. It's got to be his fastball, but it dives like a splitter.
Sure does.
Ah, that's how he does it.
Here we go.
Well, yeah, I can assure you that Keith Hernandez next door is taking in those little subtleties.
He's like, did you see that?
Yeah. He got to talking about the Astros pitching staffs of the 1980s and how guys were creating different movement and all this sort of stuff. And there, he's talking about it right now. He made it move this much. And all he had to do was reach into the humidity, and
there's no fault in being creative on the mound, is there?
Not a bit. Not a bit.
If you asked Brent Strom, he'd probably say it was a lost art.
Now, Strami brought that stuff up early in the season with me, and then I haven't heard back. I thought he might recruit me for.
I thought you were going to give a seminar,
a little tutorial, but it hasn't happened. I think Strami's got things under control on his own.
Deserves a lot of credit for those starter numbers going down.
Yes, he does. Breaking ball got him looking.
How about it?
So 1, 2, 3, 4th inning. A little delayed call as Granderson is called out. 4th strikeout for Samuel Deduno. We have played 4 scoreless innings from Citi Field. Making cancer history. In 1917, Ty Cobb had 225 hits, 44 doubles, and 55 stolen bases. It's the last time anyone had posted a season with 220-plus hits, 40-plus doubles, and 50-plus steals until this season. But somebody has snuck onto that list. Who might that person be?
I'm stumped.
Well, let's see if he bats third here in the inning.
Good chance he will, huh?
How about Jose Altuve? And you start talking about him with Ty Cobb and guys like that. Now it's a pinch hitter. So Samuel Deduno is done with his night, and an impressive night it was. 4 innings, 4 strikeouts, didn't allow a run, and allowed just 1 hit.
Great job by Deduno.
John Singleton has grabbed the bat. He will pinch hit here in the 5th inning. Trying to get something to happen. John had a pretty good looking pinch hit at bat last night.
Contact is a good thing. It's only 65 pitches for Samuel Deduno, and pretty efficient at it too.
I was really glad to see his much better pace as a starting pitcher. Singleton obviously trying to get out in front and jack one here.
It's a pretty good off-speed pitch from Montero. I found later on in my career the 1-0 count and the 2-1 count, which I was always hoping were fastball counts, really turned into a good off-speed count for pitchers.
Were you willing to guess that way in those counts?
On certain guys I would, yes. Some guys did a good job of mixing.
You know, it's a hard thing to do.
But there was, well, and it, you know, it's all experience too. You look at Jake Buchanan getting loose. But, you know, there were certain guys I knew 100%. Then there were even, you know, numbers with all the data coming out that backed it up too. So I would guess a little bit more on some of those guys. There it is, 2-1 count. It was a good sinker though. 88. It says change up here in the ballpark. That had some good depth to it.
You know, I think you played in an era that was changing things. When I initially came to the big leagues, there was this old time mentality of challenge somebody, throw a fastball. If you don't throw a fastball, you haven't developed as a man, kind of thing.
Yep.
And now it's more about making a pitch that won't get your team behind, and I couldn't agree more. And I know I tried to do it a whole lot and did it a whole lot and got in trouble with managers a whole lot and that sort of thing. But yeah, you should, as a catcher, be trying to do the best thing for your team, and that's bottom line. Caught looking is Singleton, first out. 5 strikeouts now for Montero.
Montero's showing a pretty good fastball. He threw 3 straight to Jake Marisnick to punch him out with the bases loaded. And right here, that was just a good old-fashioned fastball, challenging John Singleton, and he didn't offer at it.
Back to the top, Robbie Grossman, 0 for 2 on the night with a strikeout. Batting average still at .232 for Robbie. Not a whole lot of changes this stage of the year. Here's a drive down the right field side, but it's going to go foul back into the seats. Robbie got the head out a bit too much. With the 4+ innings tonight, it leaves Rafael Montero having gone 18+ innings now consecutively without allowing a home run. You would think pitching in this ballpark, though, your numbers would be pretty good in that regard. Here's a base hit for Grossman. 1-out single. Robbie's 1 for 3. It brings up Jose Altuve. And you wonder what it feels like. Is there a weight on the back of Jose Altuve at this moment?
I don't know, but he's going to be able to go home and look at this and realize that he is matching up with Ty Cobb's numbers from 1917, almost 100 years ago. That's a pretty amazing comparison for me. 24 triples for Ty Cobb. That's going to be a tough one to get to.
Yeah, I think that was a very different day of Major League Baseball, but records probably more than any other sport stand up, and you make those comparisons.
Ty Cobb probably led the league in takeouts at second base and puncture wounds given to infielders.
He was a beloved opponent, I believe. Jose Altuve sitting tight at 341 now. Pitches in for a strike. 1-1 on Jose. He is popped to first, grounded to short. You know, it's just the 4th year in the big leagues for Altuve. Feels like he's a seasoned vet.
It's pretty crazy to think about.
He's just 24 years of age. Hits one on the ground right to the third baseman, Murphy, onto Flores. And they turn it to Duda and get the double play. So Altuve's 0 for 3 as he grounds into the 5-4-3. And that does it for Houston in the 5th. We've played half a game and we are scoreless. AT&T U-verse TV. Find out what's possible with AT&T. Call 1-800-PIC-ATT. Mobilizing your world. And by Brake Check, every 4th oil change is free, even on synthetic. Did you run across that bridge today, Blummer?
I did. Took a jaunt. It was nice. It was beautiful. The sun was out. About 75 degrees. There were a ton of people on that bridge cruising across it, too.
Steve Sparks made a recommendation for us here tonight. Yes, us to say live from New York.
How come he is always offering
Saturday
us
night
suggestions, yet he never takes himself up on those?
I don't know.
Why is he always is he listening?
Not really sure.
We'll have to send him the game tape that we have proof that you did it.
You know, yes, it did get out there. And by the way, Steve has had a burning desire throughout the last couple of seasons now to have a home run call of his own. And he wants that call to be Seabass for all.
It should be. I tell you what, I know why he wants us to do the Saturday night bit.
Why is that?
Zach Galifianakis is now on to pitch for the Houston Astros.
Well, that is true. Some call him Jake Buchanan.
But we've been harping on this whole Seabass thing for a while now. He calls the 4th and 7th innings all by himself, and he's had ample opportunity to get one of those out there.
You think he's scared?
Yeah, he's a scared.
Julia, would you like to chime in?
Didn't you come up with a new saying for him last night?
Oh, my bad.
My bad.
No, you guys are right. He hasn't done it yet?
Did you hear what Blummer said, what he referred to him as?
No.
That's actually why I tried to get you into the conversation. Oh, well.
What'd you call him?
What are you blaming on me now?
What did you call him?
Who? Steve?
Steve Sparks.
Old Nuxie?
Oh, boy. You have now gone scared.
He's a skirt.
There you go.
Oh, no. I can't wait to see Sparky after today's game.
Yeah, it's going to be good. He's going to be mad at me again.
He makes the bus rides fun, though.
Yeah, we had plenty of time to have some fun last night.
Pitch it in the air. Right center field. That's going to drive Maruznik back. But with that speed, he gets there to make the play. 1 up, 1 down for Buchanan. He gets Wilmer Flores. Excuse me. Wilmer Flores. I cannot wait to get a little time to get rid of some allergies that have been just busting my tail. There's Steve Sparks. And if you happen to run into that guy, tell him that we said live from New York, it's Saturday night.
He knows it. I should have wrote hi on there. Said hi to Steve.
Can you, why don't you put on there Seabass and let him see it again? Ground ball left side. Matt Dominguez with the play. And out number 2. So Jake Buchanan gets that second out. And here comes Jeff Blum working his magic.
Let's see if we can pull this off.
Let's get John Madden in here to do this. Gonna bring up shortstop Ruben Tejada. Okay, let's see if we can get.
Yeah, that's a boy. That's good stuff.
That is quality work.
Reel him in.
Yep.
Sparky.
You know what? I don't want to get silly with this thing, but live from New York wouldn't be bad. But
yeah,
it's up to John Madden. Excuse me, Madden. Ruben Tejada's 1 for 1 on the night. Oh, that's kind of cute.
That was good.
We love Steve Sparks.
Yeah, he's a good time.
Just 1 Mets hit. Chopper's foul, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Has Galifianakis done enough to earn a good chance next spring?
I think he's going to get a look at, yeah. I think he's got the arm to go, maybe be one of those middle relief types that comes in a situation where maybe somebody gets knocked out early and he has a chance to extend the game. Create some depth in that bullpen.
And he gets the strikeout. Gets Tejada. 5 strikeouts now for Astros pitching. A 1-2-3 fifth.
Astros and the Mets, and I'm with a very special guest. I'm with Ella Ryan, who is the daughter of Reed Ryan. We all know Reed very well. She's 9 years old, But I want y'all to check out her awesome jersey. This is real. This is how old? Here, stand up for us. How old is your jersey?
This is 30 years old.
30 years old. So this is back when Nolan Ryan was playing. Turn around. Show us the back, too. She looks great, right? I love this. Okay, Ella, you're with Daddy this weekend. You can turn and face me. How's Daddy-daughter weekend going for you two?
Good.
Good. What have y'all been doing?
Not that much.
Watching baseball.
Yeah.
But you're going to stay for the concert, right? Are you excited?
Yeah.
Austin Mahone. Get excited. She knows who Austin Mahone is. Guys, how precious is Ella?
Fantastic. Nothing better. Chris Carter at the plate. Fouls one down the left field side. And wearing Grandpa's jersey like that, that's got to be really special.
That's real special. Good for Reed, too.
Yeah.
Smart dad right there.
Yes, he is. What a great guy. He's fun to be around.
I wonder if Ella is in on any of the manager meetings that are going on, grilling these guys, testing them.
I don't think it could hurt a thing, could it?
Could be imposing.
She's not that intimidating.
No, she's not. She's actually had a chance to meet her right when they got in. Her and her dad got out of the cab, and I was like, hey.
Carter's down on strikes. 6 strikeouts of Astros hitters. Jesus Montero.
Rafael Montero.
Rafael, yes, excuse me. It's one of those lineup sheets that has just the last name and drives me crazy. Start getting locked in on some other names around the league.
Although you could have Rafael throwing to Jose somewhere down the line.
It's likely to be a minor league game from the way things have been going for the other Montero.
Oof.
You disagree?
No, I'm just, it's a harsh reality sometimes.
Yes, it is. The big guy in the Michael Pineda trade, Seattle and New York a couple of years ago. What a mess that turned into. Dexter Fowler is 1 for 2 on the night. He's also stolen a base. George Springer. I'm not sure how he has persevered through all of this time on the bench. Saw him the other day and asked him if he was feeling better. He said that he actually is now. He feels like he would be ready to go. But he said the wait has been brutal.
It's got to be.
3-0 pitch. Green light for Dexter. Trying to unleash the beast with that swing.
I like it.
I wonder if Tom Lawless was looking for the big fly in the bat flip right there.
He was looking for the sea bass.
That is such a great story with Sparks. How that all came up last year.
Yeah, we really want that to be his home run call. Sea bass!
Oh, my. So if that ever turns into his call as the little ball is dribbled up the third base line, it's holding the chalk.
Wow, that's
continues to roll, and it stays fair. And the only reason they pick it up is Dexter rounds first base, bluffs heading for second base, and that is the best way to force a third baseman to pick up the ball. There you go. There's your swing and bunt.
Some kind of special. Got to be able to laugh about that. That's a grown man taking a full hack at a ball right there and just nubbing it. Got to give credit to the grounds crew on this one.
Thing is, it wasn't one of those squibbers. It was one of those very late swings that he chopped on the third base side.
Oh.
I want to say Dexter got all of that one.
Just enough.
1 out single. It brings up Castro. Dexter Fowler has 2 hits on the night. Boy, you don't see that very often.
No, that's pretty impressive. And they paint those white lines now. They don't have chalk in too many stadiums. Sometimes that chalk can.
It is a 4-seamer right there. It'll hold its line.
That's amazing. You couldn't have rolled that thing out there like that by hand.
just under the knees of Castro. 2-0 the count. Pretty good looking pitch. In the 6th inning from New York. Game 2 of the 3-game set. Game 161 of the 2014 schedule. One more that comes up tomorrow. Nick Tropiano goes against Bartolo Colon. And then everybody heads their own way.
Yeah, we don't have to be friends anymore.
That's what I was going to say. What they used to always say, and I assume they still do, is now we can pick our own friends.
Just because you spend all of spring and play about 195 games together doesn't mean you want to hang out anymore.
You know, these guys spend about 7.5+ months together.
Oh, yeah.
Of course, it's not necessarily the same group of guys that started the first day of spring training, but a lot of them are. 2-1 the count. A couple of pop outs for Castro tonight. I know there are some players who are completely ready for the end of the season. Some who want it to go on. You start to get hot at the end of the year and maybe start to put it together. You hate to leave. Imagine George Springer wouldn't mind another 30, 45 games or so right now.
Man, wouldn't he though? Are you saying you want to extend these seasons?
I haven't made that as my platform yet.
Yeah, what's another 20-30?
If I ever do not allow me to run. Pitch fouled back. It stays at 2-2.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to check your drink cup and see what you're drinking. Then I'm gonna throw it out.
Is 162 long enough for you?
Plenty. Plenty.
Yeah, that's a long schedule.
And it just seems like spring trainings are getting longer and longer also.
Yeah, and next year, that opening day isn't until what, April 6th?
Yeah, that pushes the end of the season into October.
Yeah, that's. I thought they were going to get away from doing that, and I'm not sure what causes that to back off like that. Castro stays alive, but I don't care for it. I don't know that anybody does or doesn't. But I think the regular season ought to, at the very latest, be over as we are this year, late in September.
I agree.
Mets have right-hander Carlisle throwing in their pen.
Oh, good old buddy.
That'll fill it. 3-2. Dexter Fowler will be on the move. He stole his 11th back in the 4th inning. There's Buddy Carlisle. And he looks like he's earnestly trying to get it loose. There goes Fowler. And the pitch slammed down the right field side. This is going to go to the corner. Here comes Fowler around third. He will score easily. RBI double Jason Castro. And the Astros get on the board. They lead it 1-0.
That is good to see from Jason Castro. Everything's a bonus right now going into the offseason. It's been a rough year statistically for Jason Castro as far as that batting average is concerned, but he gets a fastball right here and rips it down that line.
And the nice thing is, with Fowler on the move, a very easy send for Pat Listash. Meeting at the mound. And the Mets. We'll see Terry Collins coming out. Has he pointed yet? He is going to the bullpen, so that'll do it for Montero. Very good tonight, but one big mistake here with 1 out in the 6th inning. Astros lead it 1-0 as Buddy Carlisle comes on. Castro has just plated the game's only run. Double switch for the Mets. Wilfredo Tovar takes over at shortstop. And now coming on to pitch is Buddy Carlisle. No, that's the way of play in the National League. Of course, Astros fans know that through the years. That 9 spot due up first for the Mets. So it'll be Wilfredo Tovar to lead it off in the 6th inning for New York. Buddy Carlisle now works it with 1 out. Castro aboard at second. Marwin Gonzalez at the plate. Marwin is 1 for 1. He has doubled and walked. So that's the 8 and 9 spots affected with the double switch. Ruben Tejada, the shortstop, now removed from the ball game. The pitcher will bat in the 8th spot. Carlisle from the stretch and brings a strike. Marwin very effective with the bat, hitting .276 on a solid but injury-plagued year. 6 homers. He's driven in 23. Carlisle in his 8th year in the big leagues. Here's a drive to the gap in left center field. This will drop. Castro had to hold up and now will stop at third base. It'll be a single for Gonzalez. He's 2 for 2. And one of those tough balls where it goes to the gap and you don't get a run with the runner starting from second.
Yeah, I was a little curious why Pat Listash didn't send Castro, even though he held up on the ball possibly being caught. Just for the simple fact, you see the good swing from Marwin Gonzalez going with that fastball away. The center fielder Dendecker throws left-handed and he's going to his right. See how he has to stop and throw back, and even Dendecker, I think, was anticipating Castro scoring. That's why he lobbed the ball back into second base to keep Marwin at first.
He didn't turn it all toward the plate. So yeah, I think you're exactly right. The RBI for Castro, his 56th of the year. But with Matt Dominguez at the plate, and Matt's been so prone to the double play, you get him to put it on the ground, you got a chance to cough up that would-be second run of the inning. Really love to see that third base coach come further down the line, bring a runner a third of the way around the bag and send him back then if need be.
Pat Listash interviewed for that managerial spot for the Houston Astros earlier today too.
Your understanding is that Tom Lawless has interviewed.
Yes.
And I didn't realize that Pat was on that list of would-be interview candidates.
Didn't Tony down there too in that dugout? D. Francisco?
Yeah.
He interviewed for it. I saw a tweet today that said that bench coach Jeff Bannister for the Pittsburgh Pirates got a phone call.
He's a Houston guy.
Yeah. He was he's got some good stories on me, boy.
Yeah.
He was my manager in 1994 or 5 when I played in the Hawaiian Winter League.
I bet that was nothing but grueling.
You know, it's not everybody, you know, gets all these cushy jobs in Venezuela and Puerto Rico. You know, some of us have to grind it out going to Hawaii.
Well, that's why you made it. You were willing to put in that kind of work.
I put up a fight, but they convinced me I should go.
Nice job. And it worked for you in the end.
It did.
Ground ball, foul outside the bag. Just hate to see the ball come off the bat on the ground here.
Yeah, that would be disappointing, not being able to pick up this run, if not more.
The Astros won in the low-scoring affair 3-1 last night. It just feels like the runs are nearly impossible to come by right now. And that's a good thing when you're talking about your own pitching staff. Line drive, and the catch is made at second. Flores able to move to his right and haul it in, but now 2 outs with runners at the corners. So Matt Dominguez gives it a bid, but the ball off the end of the bat didn't have much sting on it.
Now that backside of the lower half for Matt Dominguez for a while now has not been, see that just front hip disappearing and going towards the dugout. Doesn't leave much behind the ball to be able to drive it or stay on it. That's why you hit some of those baseballs off the end of the bat, because you're not staying in there a little bit longer.
Just leaves you uneasy now as Jake Marisnick is at the plate. Jake is 0 for 2 in his second at bat. He struck out in the 4th inning. He came to the plate with 2 outs and the bases juiced before striking out.
On fastballs too, and he missed one right there.
Right-hander Mike Foltynewicz loosening in the Astros pen. His pens are side by side out in right center field. Oh, and 1 the count on Marisnick. He takes a strike and falls behind 0-2. And that's just a fastball thrown through there. There's Folty. It's a fairly grizzly beard he's got going as well.
Yeah, it seems to be the trend these days for professional athletes to just have these overgrown beards.
Glad I played in another era.
Oh, Ash. Your facial hair was legendary when you played, and you know this.
Yeah, that mustache was what would be the word?
Highly recognizable.
Ready to be shaved quickly, like the day that I got done playing.
Really?
Yeah, it was gonzo.
So you weren't a fan of that? That was your staple. That was how we knew Alan Ashby was coming to the plate.
Well, everybody had one back then. So
you and Dickie Thon were pretty solid in the mustache department.
There goes Marwin, but down on strikes Jake Marisnick. So that does it again. Second time Marisnick has struck out with runners in scoring position.
Yeah.
It's a 1-0 Houston lead, and don't look at the photos.
Building in downtown Manhattan here in New York. Astros 1-0 over the Mets in 2015. Astros season tickets are on sale now. Enjoy some of the best seats at Minute Maid Park. Get the best value and receive great benefits throughout the season. Call 1-877-9-ASTROS now to reserve your seats.
When?
When?
Yeah.
2015.
No, when to do it.
Now.
Oh, okay. You were forceful, but I wanted to make sure that it was clear.
Oh, I'm going to speak up next time. Now.
To the bottom of the 6th we go. The Astros have struck for a run. It's 1-0 Houston. They get one in the 6th, but they might have left one out there. Jason Castro at second base as Marwin hit one to the gap in left center field. Castro did not move initially on the line drive, and then when he got to third base was held by Pat Listash, and he eventually does not score after Matt Dominguez lined out softly and Marisnick struck out. So that could be costly. Jake Buchanan working part of a second inning now. Ground ball up the middle. Marwin just gliding to his left. Nice play. That's out number 1.
Nice and easy. Marwin doesn't have to do too much. Taking it easy with that hamstring issue he's dealing with. Making it look smooth. Make those routine plays.
Samuel Deduno started for the Astros. He will not win it, but he pitched well. 4 innings of scoreless baseball, allowing just 1 hit, 1 walk, striking out 4, 65 pitches. Jake Buchanan in his second inning works it to Eric Young Jr., who has struck out and grounded out. Yes, this is, excuse me, this is Den Decker, the leadoff man. That was the 9 spot with Tovar leading off the inning.
Ash, I've got people tweeting me about your mustache, and they said it was legendary.
It was awful.
Somebody even gave you a nickname.
Yeah,
Alan Mustashby. That's good.
I never heard that one.
That's a good one.
I heard some other nicknames along the way. That
the Ash Stash.
Good. Good. See, it's a much more creative generation now. Back then they would label me.
Oh, back then they'd be just hovered around the radio listening to it, hearing the radio announcers describe your mustache, and then they'd just tell their nicknames to each other. They didn't have the ability to tweet it out there.
Kevin Chapman gets it loose as Jeff Blum fumbles through his description of my sad appearance back in those days.
They do a pretty good job of piping in some noise here, don't they?
They do get some pretty good noise. You know what? The crowd, though, has filled in a bit since the first pitch of the night. Was today their fan appreciation day, or is that coming tomorrow? I guess it is tomorrow. Three and two the count. Den Decker at the plate is grounded out twice. There it is. Okay. The mustache was impairing my ability to see. Line shot down the right field side. This will get to the corner. Den Decker into second base. He'll hold there. Getting it back in Marisnick. A one-out double. It brings up Eric Young.
Just a sinker right down the middle. All Den Decker had to do was drop the barrel on it. Speed gets him into second base easily.
Double number 10 for Den Decker.
You were reminiscing about that mustache, weren't you?
No, not at all. Actually, I wasn't aware of how bad it was in those days.
It wasn't bad.
But later, not during the 70s and 80s, people didn't refer to it in the derogatory way that they did some years later. It seemed to associate me with a certain group of individuals.
I have no idea what you mean by that.
No? Okay.
Well, could you enlighten us?
No, not at all.
Oh, man.
You're on your own at this point.
I'm at a loss. My imagination's going crazy right now.
Ask Julia. She'll give you the answer.
Oh, man. I'm not going to bring Julia into this.
Ground ball left side. Marwin on the run. Throws and got him. That is a nice play while moving to third as Den Decker but 2 outs.
That's a big league shortstop making a play right there on a guy who can run, and Eric Young Jr. That was nice. Margot, even with that bum hamstring, does a great job of getting around this ball and getting that short hop. Good strong throw on the run. Well played.
And you don't get that out, and it changes everything about the inning. And now another double switch is going to take place. Tom Lawless comes out to the home plate umpire, Will Little. And they are going over the details of this switch now that will take place as Matt Dominguez heads to the dugout. So it would figure that Matt is done with his night. He was the 7 hitter. Jake Marisnick, the 8 hitter, made the final out of the 6th inning. So Kevin Chapman will come on. And now Gregorio Petit, or for Jeff Blum, Greg Pettit will come on. And you'll switch those two in the batting order. Two managers. Kevin Chapman, part of a double switch, comes on. Gregorio Petit is now the 3rd baseman. He will bat in the 9 spot. That will lead it off in the 7th inning as Kevin Chapman has his pitcher spot in the 7th spot. That's where Matt Dominguez departs.
Kevin Chapman last night picked up the win. Pitching 2/3 of an inning here at Citi Field. Gave up 1 hit, 1 walk, and that was to his cousin. Guy standing at 3rd base right now, and Matt Dendecker.
It's a big moment in the ball game. The Astros put 1 on the board, maybe had a shot for at least another run, did not get it in the top of the 6th inning, and now trying to shut the Mets down here in the bottom of the inning. 2 outs, runner at 3rd, and a ground ball right side, diving stop Carter. He'll toss on to Chapman, and 1 pitch they get the out as Daniel Murphy grounds out, and so Chapman gets the job done. Carter with the nice defensive play. We've played 6. It's 1-0 Houston.
Follow all the pennant races with MLB.com. At that, the #1 app for live baseball. Get this award-winning app for your smartphone or tablet for the rest of the season for only $9.99. Visit the App Store or MLB.com today. The Astros got their 70th win last night over the Mets, and 70 wins on the season. Now, it wasn't something that these guys wrote down on a piece of paper to start the year. It wasn't a goal. But as they got closer and they knew it was there, they did want to capture 70 just because of how big of an improvement that was when you compare it to last year. 19 games improved, with still 2 to play here. But what they thought, Altuve, Lawless both speaking to this, was that why can't they make another big jump next year? Why can't they contend next year? Altuve saying this is a very big deal. It's a number they didn't see last year, and they shouldn't have to ever see the record that they saw last year with just 51 wins, guys.
Thanks, Julia. And I would hope that that's the attitude of the ball club. Gregorio Petit leads off here in the 7th inning. Astros with a 1-0 lead. They've out-hit the Mets 7-2 on the night. They've also committed the game's only error. Buddy Carlisle still on the mound for New York. Glad to see that talk about my former mustache has brought out at least the information that some folks are listening this evening. We appreciate your.
They are listening, and they are fans of the stash.
Yeah, in some cases. Gregorio Petit has his first plate appearance of the night. He came on part of a double switch taking place in the bottom of the 6th inning. Hits a hot shot to third, but right there to make the play is Murphy, and out number 1. With 1 out, back to the top, Robbie Grossman. He's 1 for 3, and that's a 9-game hitting streak now for Robbie. Not a bad way to end the year.
That's real nice. Extended into next season when you come back out.
So you've got potentially, as you head to spring training next year and eventually toward opening day, a sticky situation where you've got Robbie Grossman and Alex Presley as part of the roster, at least presently. George Springer comes back. Has Jake Marisnick earned himself a starting spot? Where does Dexter Fowler fit in? How's it going to wash out there?
I gave you my picks yesterday. I said Fowler moves to left, Marisnick in center, and George Springer to start out the season. Yeah, it's going to be a dogfight between Grossman and Presley, who gets that 4th outfielder spot. But, you know, do you carry both those guys? They're both pretty good hitters.
And that's really where I should have been more specific as far as the 2 guys. You always hear about 4th outfielders. What about a 5th?
We like to have that 4th outfielder for sure, for obvious reasons.
Line drive to left field. Holding his ground and then coming on is Young to make the play. 2 outs here in the 7th. And now Jose Altuve. We can tell you that Victor Martinez has picked up a hit tonight. He's 1 for 2. He's at 337. 340 is the mark with the 0 for 3 for Altuve. So it has gotten uncomfortably close now. 3 points between the 2.
Yeah, you'd like to see Altuve pick up a knock right here. If he gets another AB, maybe pick up another one. But I say a knock today, knock tomorrow. Should seal it up. Might be one of those situations, too, where he goes out there and plays tomorrow. Maybe goes 1 for 2 in his first 2 at-bats and then gets pulled out of that game.
Starting to take some pitches. And I would say that my eye has seen the best results when Jose's just been letting it fly.
Especially on fastballs early in the count.
Lays off the high heat. Altuve has popped out, grounded out, and grounded into a double play. That went 5-4-3 in the 5th inning. Fastball hit in the air, shallow and right. But an easy play for Granderson, and now an 0 for 4 night for Jose. So that'll do it for the Astros in the 7th inning, and Jose having a long night.
1-0 Astros, in time now for the AT&T Rewind. It's going to be your starting pitcher, Samuel Deduno. The one spot start that he's had this year for the Houston Astros. Came out, pitched quite well. Had a good sinker moving down in the zone around 90, 92 miles an hour. Showed a good breaking ball, that average under 200 against it. But pitched himself quite nicely, throwing 65 pitches in those 4 innings. Only gave up 1 hit, 1 walk, 4 punch outs. Nice way for the young man to end his season.
Jake Buchanan followed with an inning and 2/3 scoreless. And Kevin Chapman got the 1 big out to end the 6th inning, getting Daniel Murphy to ground out. Nice play by Chris Carter. And so here we go in the bottom of the 7th inning. The Astros trying to protect this 1-0 lead. Lucas Duda, the big power man, will lead it off. 28 bombs on the year. He's 0 for 2 on the night. Flied to center field twice. That's a good slider, and how that sweeps across and doesn't get some outside corner, I'm not sure. Duda hitting .250. Driven in 86 for the Mets. There's a strike on the outside edge. Looked like Duda with that high leg kick was just winding up and trying to catch a fastball and tie this game. Ground ball back up the middle. There's Petit with the play. Throws on the run after the spin and got him. Nice play by Carter to pick up the 1-hop throw. But Gregorio Petit, along with Marwin Gonzalez, playing some stellar defense on that left side.
That was a great play by Gregorio out there. No, he can play some shortstop, showing his versatility, playing some third base. But now with the shift on, he's in that shortstop position and showing he's comfortable enough to make a great play on Duda.
That's going to bring Brent Strom out to the mound. Jason Castro precedes him in that direction. Curtis Granderson, a left-handed bat, is due up, and he's at the plate. Take one more look at what Gregorio Petit just pulled off there.
Good footwork, get that head around, pick up first base.
How'd that play work for you? Is that spin, does it leave you as an infielder with a difficult time picking up first base?
No, not by the time you get to the big leagues. Best I ever saw or playing with was Khalil Green.
San Diego Padres shortstop.
Yeah, he was an acrobat out there. He was amazing.
Both bullpens working right now, so Jose Veras gets it loose for Houston, and for the Mets it is right-hander Jeurys. Let's see the eyes. Jeurys, I believe, is how they pronounce that first word.
This has not been the easiest road trip for names.
And could they make this print any smaller for those impaired with
here, let me make it easier for you.
Yeah, that's much better. Much better. Okay.
Yeah, I'll take your word for it.
Yeah. Well, I did go around and check on the pronunciations, but
Jeurys Familia.
Yeah, that is, and the Familia, I just wasn't absolutely certain. Ground ball up the middle. Right there, Marwin to make the play, and 2 outs. So that would be left side of the infield, all over the place and making some fine plays. Two down on ground balls. Wilmer Flores comes to the plate. I love these September springs you run into.
Yeah, they're throwing everything at us on this trip.
And now Tom Lawless is going to come out. So Brent Strom came out to the mound, buying time so you can get an arm loose in the bullpen. And now the skip's coming out. That's going to do it for Kevin Chapman. He works 1 inning and he got 3 ground ball outs. And now it's going to be in the hands of Jose Veras. He'll work it with 1 out here in the 7th inning, trying to hold on to this 1-0 Houston lead. Greatest single season performance in Houston Astros history comes down to one final game right here in the Big Apple as Jose Altuve vies for the first batting title in franchise history. Pregame live tomorrow starts at 11:30 a.m. only on Comcast Sportsnet.
Tomorrow afternoon's pitching matchup is brought to you by Chevron. Care for your car. Those are the Met bats. I think Nick Tropiano is going to go out there tomorrow and try and shut down for the final game of this 2014 season, making his 4th start for the Houston Astros. See what he did last time against the Texas Rangers in one of those losses. He's actually been pitching quite well despite those 2 losses, and he's going to go up against one of the saltier veterans in all of baseball, Bartolo Colon. 14-13 record on the season. Look for him to be throwing a lot of fastballs tomorrow afternoon against these young Astro hitters.
He's got to be in his 50s by now, isn't he?
No, he's got his age on his back, number 40.
Wears it well. Been around for, I would say, 3-4 decades anyway, but still effective. As the first pitch from Veras in for a strike on Wilmer Flores.
Yeah, I don't know how old he is.
I'm not sure any of us could verify his age. Is that fair enough?
No comment.
Another strike, 0-2 the count. So Veras comes on throwing strikes. Flores reached on the error, the only error of the evening, that committed by Matt Dominguez in the 2nd inning. That might be an interesting play to see if it gets changed to a hit by anybody in the future, but we'll see. Breaking ball, little looper back of shortstop, getting back there easily. Gonzalez. Marwin makes the play, a 1-2-3 7th. Veras comes on to get that final out. It's 1-0 Houston.
Promised earlier in the game, we have the AT&T fan photo of the game, and tonight it is Michael Hamm tweeting this photo from the Astros' very last home game. Grab George Springer in that selfie. Tweet your photos at hashtag CSNH fan photo for a chance to be shown in an upcoming broadcast that's brought to you by AT&T. We also asked a Twitter question. You responded, and here's some of the best ones. One Baby J13 says, no doubt winning the silver boot. Oh, I should read the question. What's the biggest accomplishment you take out of the Astros season? And he was saying the Rangers have always been dominant against the Astros, and to take that away is awesome. And Caleb Traylor, definitely the improvement in the rotation. Keuchel and McHugh have improved more than anyone predicted. Thanks for tweeting us, guys. Up to you.
Thanks a lot, Julia. Juris Familia now comes on for the Mets. He's warming it up, and he'll face the 3, 4, 5 spots. Chris Carter, Dexter Fowler, and Jason Castro. If you're just checking in, Jose Altuve has had a long night, 0 for 4, and it is not helping the matters with that batting race at all.
Still hanging around that 340 mark, but nice pick up a knock. Get on the board after Victor Martinez is now 1 for 2 with a walk.
So Familia works it to Carter.
This kid throws hard, average about 96 miles an hour. He's got a slider. Changeup comes in there close to 90 miles an hour.
Third pitcher of the night for the Mets. Little ground ball off the fists of Carter. He's thrown out by the third baseman Murphy, and 1 pitch, 1 out here in the 8th.
Haven't seen a bomb from Chris Carter in a little bit too.
He's been quiet on that front. Dexter Fowler comes to the plate. He's 2 for 3. He has stolen a base. He scored the only run of the ball game. That came in the 6th. He was plated by Jason Castro. Castro picked up ribby number 56. So Dexter Fowler trying to keep swinging that bat hot as he goes through the finish line. As you mentioned that about Carter, he's had 1 home run. As you go back in the month of September, all the way through the September 6th game, as the Astros were hosting Oakland, the 2nd of 3 against the A's. That started the string, just 1 home run in that span. Now, he swung the bat pretty well, although the batting average has dropped a bit. Dexter takes the strike. It's 1-2. But it's been quite a quieting of that home run bat.
Sure has.
Hit his 36th back on the 5th of September. Dexter fouls it off, 97 on the heat. So as Blummer said, a good variety of cheese being dealt. Carter pretty much got blown up on the fastball on his hands. And again, Dex fouls it off. That second Fowler hit tonight. Little dribbler on the third base side, rolled up along the chalk rather, and just stayed right on that line. Eventually rolled back into fair territory all the way. And he got himself a knock. Wisely, he took off heading towards second base, and that forced the third baseman Murphy to pick up the baseball. Hit in the air to right field. Not deep. Granderson took a step back and now comes on. 2 down here in the 8th.
Time now for the Mako big hit of the game, and it was off the bat of Jason Castro that you were just talking about, Ash, for that 56th RBI. Worked the count, got himself a fastball out over the plate. Dropped the head on it and ripped it into that right field corner, allowing Dexter Fowler plenty of time to score all the way from first base.
Jason had that big knock. On base when Marwin Gonzalez hit one to the gap in left center field. It dropped for a hit, but Castro froze just long enough to wind up being held at third base by Pat Listash. And what a big second run that might have been. 34,886 on hand here in New York tonight.
I'll say again, judging by some of the roars we've heard from the crowd, or lack of roars, that would tell you that there are a lot of young ladies in the house waiting for Austin Mahone after this game.
We saw all the young cheerleaders out here before the ball game. You suppose they hung around?
Oh, they're here.
This is a big concert then.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Austin Mahone, I somehow have avoided, intentionally or otherwise, learning about that name.
They're so out of the loop.
I know. It's not right. 0-2 the count on Jason. Some finals around Major League Baseball. Tampa won it 2-0 over Cleveland. Miami drops one in Washington, D.C. 5-1 the Nats win over the Fish. The Giants 3-1 winners over San Diego. Baltimore falls at Toronto 4-2. The Yankees got blown up by the Red Sox 10-4 at Fenway. And 10 runs for Cincinnati as they drop Pittsburgh 10-6. That's a final in 10 innings. Just outside. Castro stays alive. Any races impacted by tonight's play at all?
Not sure. Things are starting to weed themselves out. Some playoff spots being clinched, but everybody's waiting to see who wins divisions to see how the postseason schedule.
You know, by the way, the Boston Red Sox, the reigning world champions, at the start of play today have the very same record as the Astros, 70-90.
Baseball's crazy, isn't it?
It'll mess with you. Tigers start play today. One game in front of Kansas City. Those two clubs have guaranteed a postseason berth, but there's so much more advantage to winning the division.
And both teams are losing right now. Be nice to avoid that one-game wild card playoff.
Castro down on strikes. A 1-2-3 8th inning. Tough and tied with very good pitching this evening in New York.
Got some predictions for next year, at least they're mine, for the infield. Got Castro starting out the season behind the plate. John Singleton, of course, at first base. Altuve, second base. Matt Dominguez and Jonathan Villar on that left side of the infield. And I know that there's going to be question about the Jonathan Villar choice. I know that he's probably one of the more talented shortstops on this roster right now. I know Margot, you know what you're going to get from Marwin Gonzalez for me. So I think they're going to give Jonathan Villar another shot out there at shortstop. And look at that name in parentheses. I think it's just a matter of time. If Villar struggles and shows the propensity to make errors and still hit around 200, I think you have a chance to see Carlos Correa healthy, go through Arizona Fall League, hopefully have a nice good 2 months, and then maybe show up there in the big leagues. But for me, Jason Castro might be an interesting choice to maybe go over there to try and play some first base if John Singleton can't play first base or continues to struggle with the bat.
And I wonder in the long run for Jason Castro if that might not help him out offensively.
Well, what we've seen from Stassi is a good swing, and Castro has those knee issues, and you wonder if some of that is starting to catch up with him a little bit, and you move him over to first base. See if he can do that, or you platoon him at DH with Chris Carter. You never know.
Talked about it. Max Stassi's been fairly impressive since joining the club.
On both ends, too, defensively and offensively. He puts together a good big league at bat.
We're in the bottom of the 8th inning. Jose Veras on to work it. He got that third out in the 7th inning. Went right after Wilmer Flores. Falls behind 1-0 as he faces the 7th hitter, Anthony Recker. Recker followed by the pitcher spot. Bobby Abreu has a bat. And a 1-1 count. You know, I've said it many times. I'm not one who believes a guy needs X number of games in the minor leagues at every level. So it's just me talking. If Carlos Correa has a strong showing in spring training, I'll be rooting for the kid to make the club. I'll be honest. 2 balls and a strike.
And I don't think that's a bad thing.
Tony Sipp getting loose in the Astros pen. Mets have a right-hander throwing. So yeah, I'm cool with seeing a talented guy make the ball club as soon as possible.
Well, we saw what a talented guy can do for a ball club in George Springer and what he did for the 2014 Astros.
For George, it took until he was 24 and a half years of age. And clearly he's got some areas to improve upon, that strikeout rate. But he's an impact player in a very special way. It is Jenry Mejia loosening for the Mets. Just getting started here in the bottom of the 8th inning. Just 2 hits for the Mets. And now 3-2 the count.
And I think Matt Dominguez for me at third base is going to be one of the interesting ones too. Is he going to make the adjustment in spring training and be able to break camp and be that everyday third baseman? With some of these young corner infielders that they do have in the minor leagues, that Moran kid might be one that has a chance to move up through the ranks next year.
I was a little surprised that we didn't see him called up to the club for September.
Yeah.
Just to get him a peek around and pick up maybe what you can. Count stays at 3-2.
And with John Singleton at first base, you gave him the contract, so you have to throw him out there and play him.
Yeah, that's a different scenario than most guys.
Yeah, that's what makes it difficult. Because you've shown the commitment. You've put money into that position, and you have to put that money out there and let it play.
A contract viewed with a little disgust by the Players Association when it came out, because it was regarded as team friendly. Fly ball to left field. Robbie Grossman comes on, and after that 3-2 count, getting Recker, a big one here for the first out in the 8th inning. And now Bobby Abreu, who apparently has announced his retirement following the season. He'll pinch hit. Again, the pitcher spot for the Mets. It's the 8th spot in the order. Quite a career had by Bobby Abreu.
I agree.
Once upon a time, a member of the Astros chain.
I believe that he was taken in an expansion draft of some kind, and they protected Derek Bell and Richard Hidalgo.
That's correct. And of course,
some tough choices right there.
Very tough. Very tough. And I don't know that those were the only names that wound up getting protected ahead of him, but Bobby went on to have really the best of the careers of that bunch. But Derek Bell was an extremely impactful player at the time for the Astros. Richard Hidalgo went on to have a 40-plus home run season. And the truth is, Bobby Abreu at that time was viewed as a guy that was never going to have power. Is not borne out that way.
Well, you know, he could flat out hit.
Always had that ability. He was a guy who picked up a lot of triples at that stage of his career.
Well, he was playing in Veterans Stadium out there in Philadelphia on that turf, and he would shoot a gap, and he'd end up on third base in a hurry.
"40 years of age now is Bobby Abreu. He pops it up. Shallow in left field. Again, it's Grossman. And again, he makes the catch. 2 down on fly balls to left field. Brings up the 9 spot. Tovar, who came on as part of a double switch, will have his second at bat. So Veras trying to work it through this 8th inning. He's gotten 3 outs since coming on. Wilfredo Tovar. He hammers one down the left field side, but it hooks foul, and it had home run distance. Little guy, big pop.
I only got C out. I didn't get Bass out.
And you wonder how that might have worked out had it been the 7th inning for Steve Sparks.
Man, not sure he's going to scream. We don't want to hear Seabass for the other team.
You know what?
We want to hear it for the home team.
What are we, about, I don't know, 30 feet or so from the
we're technically
radio booth?
In a straight line. We're maybe 30 feet, but going through the tunnels that they built back here, it's about a 7-minute walk.
A little bit unusual. And we actually were almost not allowed into the broadcast area yesterday. In fact, we weren't sure there was a broadcast area based on responses we were getting with our requests.
Well, how about everybody we asked said it was down underneath the stadium?
If there was one. Broadcast.
Oh, yeah, you guys are in the basement. Huh? There's no way you've seen one of our games. Come on.
Oh, dear. That's tight. Rim shot. Pitch stays inside.
Yeah,
2-1 the count.
We found it. We went through 2 elevators, Tom Seaver's lobby.
It's a good looking lobby, by the way. You just don't want to get stuck there throughout the game.
Yeah, that could be tough. And eventually made our way through a beautiful diamond club of some kind.
Yeah, it's nice. You just wouldn't have any idea it led to the broadcast booth. Marwin with another nice play on the run. Marwin Gonzalez has been stellar at shortstop. A 1-2-3 8th inning. We move to the 9th. Astros on top by a run.
Looking for the perfect way to combine business and baseball, or a unique space to hold your next event? With state-of-the-art meeting spaces, Minute Maid Park can surpass all of your needs. Call 713-259-8800 for more information. Don't forget to ask about softball games and batting practice.
And gymnastics, if you're so inclined.
Cheerleading, gymnastics, you can do it all at Minute Maid.
How many cheerleaders would you say were down on the field at
7,000?
Yeah, it was kind of in that range, I think.
Yeah, you saw it in the open that we did. They were all back there in a massive, setting a Guinness Book of World Records for mass cheer.
And I think they had the New York Jets cheerleaders out here as well. They were leading the cheerleaders. Henry, we're told, Mejia will work it now.
It's a soft J. 62 appearances.
It's a HOTA.
You don't say.
I do.
Is that where we're staying?
May I have a Kleenex? No, that's a hotel that we're. I know you were not able to tell, but it is a hotel.
Well played. Oh, man.
Yeah, we had a little shifting around of rooms for a lot of folks.
Oh, it's been ongoing.
Yeah, it's been nice.
I'm leading the league in visits to the front desk.
Marwin Gonzalez leads it off. Marwin has 2 hits. He's also walked. A perfect night going, and he's been better than that defensively. That diving stop by Marwin early in the ballgame, second inning, and then getting up to fire to the plate and cut down Wilmer Flores trying to score, turns out defensively to really be the play of the game.
And me suggesting that VR should open the season at shortstop is just to credit his ability. It has nothing to do with Marwin Gonzalez, because if in the first week you don't like what you see from VR, you plug this guy right in, you're going to have a great shortstop.
That's just a toolbox call, I would assume.
Yeah, exactly.
And it would be for me as well.
Well, the tools are what is giving him just one extra shot.
Hot shot to short. Right there to make the play is Tovar, out number 1. So Marwin stings it for the first out. This is the pitcher spot now. Matt Dominguez started in this spot, went 0 for 2 on the evening. And now pinch hitter Alex Presley will stand in. Alex hitting .249 on the year. You know that's one of those figures a guy wants to get 2 or above the .250 mark. Coming up for the Mets in the bottom of the 9th inning, the top of the order. So it's Van Decker, Eric Young, and Daniel Murphy. I said Van Decker, Den Decker. Two and all the count on Alex. Presley with 6 homers on the year. Marwin's trying to tell the guys what it looks like when you're watching Mejia deliver the baseball. And now 2-1. Jose Altuve 0 for 4 on his night. Has seen the batting average drop to an even .340 now. What are those eyes seeing as he stares into the distance? It felt rather comfy a few days ago for Jose. Fly ball left center field, going back and over is Den Decker, and he makes the play. Second out in the 9th. Tony Sipp continues to loosen in the pen for the Astros, so it would figure that he's got at least the start of the 9th inning.
Be a good move. The leadoff man, Den Decker's left-handed hitter. Eric Young Jr. switch hits. And then you've got Daniel Murphy, a left-handed hitter, and Lucas Duda after him hitting left-handed. So
not to mention Curtis Granderson.
If you keep going, hopefully it doesn't get that far. But
just a load of left-handed bats.
My goodness, a little top-heavy with the lefties.
Very much like Seattle at times, where they can just load you with left-handed bats.
Yeah.
Ground ball is foul left side.
What happened to Listash? He's shut down trying to catch some of those ground balls.
I think a man's got to know his limitations.
We found it last night. A couple of errors. Oh, sorry. We'll stop talking about it. His ears are burning.
I think he gets annoyed when we discuss shortcomings.
Wow, good one.
Ooh, no intent.
That was insensitive.
No intent.
That was the Freudian slip.
It's a pure foible.
Those darn foibles.
Yeah. Did you anticipate hearing the word foible in tonight's broadcast?
I thought it was a pet you had when you were a kid.
No, that was a chia pet. Jake Marisnick 0 for 3 on his night. Couple of strikeouts. Big one in the 4th inning. Had the bases loaded with 2 outs and struck out. That kept it a scoreless game at the time. And another strikeout. 3 on the night for Jake on an 0 for 4 night. And a 1-2-3 9th inning. To the bottom of the 9th we go. Astros lead it 1-0. So 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit us at geico.com or call 1-800-947-AUTO. Wouldn't you just love to be down there on the streets of New York right now?
Yes.
Driving a taxi?
No.
Make up your mind.
I don't want to be driving in this city. Are you kidding me? My California instincts would take over and I just gas it.
Tony Sipp takes over here in the 9th inning. Facing the top of the order. We've already talked about the left-handed bats, the reason for Tony being the logical choice here. 26 hits allowed in 50 innings. Very impressive.
No, he's got some great numbers.
At 149 opponents batting average against.
Man. You wonder why he's in there to face a couple of lefties. I got a pinch hitter up there in Campbell.
Eric Campbell is the pinch hitter, hitting .266, 3 home runs. So the right-handed bat offering early, hits a towering fly ball left center. Fowler calls and makes the catch, and 1 out. So 1 pitch for Tony Sipp and 1 out. And that'll bring up the switch hitting Eric Young Jr. Young is 0 for 3 on his night. Hitting just .227. Not a lot of power. 1 home run. Infield draws in on the corners. Petit at third. Carter at first. Even Altuve creeping in on the right side. Jose Altuve 0 for 4. One more day. And how do you play it tomorrow with Jose? He's hitting .340. Still in charge of the batting race, but not in charge like he once was.
That's a little bit tighter. Yeah, the comfort is definitely taken away from the lead he did have.
Victor Martinez 1 for 3 on his night. McCann has pinch hit now for the Tigers for Victor Martinez. So you wonder if Brad Ausmus is thinking, well, let's keep it right here tight and take a shot tomorrow. Fly ball left center field and deep back at the wall. This one is off the wall. Into second, Young. He won't stop there. Heading for third, and he's got a 1-out triple. And that's the would-be tying run at third base now. A big blow for the Mets here in the bottom of the 9th inning.
E.Y. Jr. playing with some of the verve that his dad played with too, putting a big power stroke on this high fastball from that right-hand side for him. For a second there, it looked like it was going to have a shot to get up onto that party deck out there, but hits the face of the wall. By the time Robbie Grossman even has a chance to get that ball back in, he is at third base. Ooh, Pete Rose-esque right there.
It's getting up there. Brent Strom's going to come out to the mound. The entire infield will come in. They'll talk about defensive possibilities here, and there's that verve. Triple number 5 on the year for Young. Couldn't come at a bigger time for New York. Strami done with his message. Jason Castro and Tony Sipp continued to talk things over. So the infield is going to stay in as they face Daniel Murphy, the left-hand hitter.
Speaking of uncomfortable.
Very much so. Murphy now at .288 with an 0 for 3 night. Struck out once, that back in the first inning, and Sipp comes after him. A lot of heat on Jason Castro to make sure and block pitches. Murphy impacted by left-hand pitching, but not that much. He's at .294 against the righties, .278 against left-handers. Castro needs to make sure and keep that glove and body down on the breaking ball in the dirt. And a strike called.
See Tony Sipp get some of these pitches down in the zone. Yeah, that's called a strike, but still an elevated fastball in this situation gets you a sac fly. We got a tie ball game.
Not exactly on the agenda for tonight.
Please no.
Daniel Murphy has 2 triples on his year, and both came against a left-handed pitcher. The 1-1. Little thumber. Shallow down the left field side. Robbie Grossman is there. He'll make the catch, get it back in. And there's your big second out. And now Tony Sipp can get an out any style here as he faces Lucas Duda.
Good pitch getting in the kitchen of Murphy right there. It's exactly what you needed. Just a little blue. Robbie Grossman charging in. Only option for E.Y. Jr. is to stay at third base.
Did you check that out? The Astros had their third baseman in cutoff position and their shortstop at the bag at third.
Yeah,
that's standard, but that hasn't been standard for the Astros this year.
Really?
It hasn't happened a number of times. But it happened right there beautifully. Lucas Duda 0 for 3 at the plate. It's been kind of a griping point for me watching a number of the throws from the outfield, but that's another story. Time to get Lucas Duda. Shift on. 3 infielders on the right side. This is just performed to perfection. And again, a lot of times the third baseman has simply not been in this position. The shortstop hasn't been there to enable the third baseman to be in this position, and it's created some very bad throwing situations. Runners moving up. Of course, there's no other runner here. Pitch is rocked down the right field side at the pole. It hits the foul pole. A walk-off 2-run home run for Lucas Duda. His 29th bomb of the year. The Mets fail all night long for 26 outs to get a run, and they scored 2 as they walk it off. And Lucas Duda, the hero for New York. 2-1, Mets win over the Astros.